press pause on all this. Woo!
Put Scooter on the phone, you bird brain.
What do you do, backflips? You jump up there in a silly suit? What do you do?
Yo, bam! I want you to play that.
All right, here we go. Well, good evening, everybody. Fast Freddie here at the Youngstown studios, and this is our first ever late night prime time podcast that we have done.
This is the first?
The very first.
We're popping another cherry of hers.
As always, man. And my guests, of course, today are the Huckin Fillbillys. We got Merlin, we got Ken, we got Jimmy, we got Butch Likens, drummer extraordinaire. And I'll tell you, we have been hanging out and rocking for so many years. And I'm just so glad that you guys could make it down and be a part of the show. And we can talk a little bit about what's going on and give people a chance to know a little bit about all your histories and, you know, all the stuff. We can talk a little bit about hard luck and Lazarus and love turns hate and the whole 9 yards, you know, and it's just good to see everybody here.
We were happy to make it.
Yes, and in true,
we were about ready to pull into the post office.
Hey, you know, that, if you guys remember, that's the post office that Don Hanai hit when he was drunk and got off because he went down to the bar and drank a bunch of shooters and then called the cops.
I miss that story.
He was
like, dude, where is it? It says to the right.
Right? We made it.
Right or left, we're always missing.
But anyways, in true Huckin Fillbilly fashion, we got to start things off here with a shot. What are we drinking here today, Jimmy?
A little Jack Daniels fire.
Hey, there you go. Cheers, guys. A little Jack Daniels fire.
Warm us up on this cold front.
Oh, you got
global
to.
warming, man.
You know it. You know it.
Salute.
That's good. Salute.
Feel free to join us out there.
Yeah, that's right. If you're
whatever you're drinking
right now,
it's cocktail time.
Yeah, post a picture or whatever. But a lot of people starting to tune in here so far. Rick Wozniak, Ron Thompson, Doug Brannon, Cindy. Good to hear from Cindy. Robin and Chuck Geis. A lot of people checking in. How about on you? Who you got?
I can't tell.
Oh, okay.
I'm new to this, Freddie.
Let's see. Wait a minute.
Is there a delay?
There you go. Okay, you got them all.
There we go.
There's some people.
Oh, they're joining. We're getting some love. We're getting some Fillbilly love here. Thanks. Yeah, no comments yet.
Okay. You can just say hi.
Waves. We're getting waves. We're getting some waves here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mo Ray.
That's cool.
In. But I figured we had to bring out some Jack because most of the stories that we're going to probably cover today were under the influence of something.
Jose and Jack, I'd say, mostly.
Well, we went through like kind of a process, though, because I know out of Conneaut Lake, you know, we were hitting the Jack for a while, and the Jaeger bombs were flowing out there pretty good, too. Oh. At one point, that was the Jaeger bombs were really hitting.
Good thing we could crawl to the hotel from the beach club. Beach club, all right.
Beach.
I mean,
beach house.
Yeah, the beach club. Yeah, unfortunately, it burned down. But how many good times did we have out there?
Oh, those were good times.
Those are great clubs.
The ones that I can remember were great. Actually, the ones that I can't remember were probably even better.
Oh, I'm sure there's some pictures.
I remember naked Freddie at a piano. That was probably that was the peak.
We just to be out there and because that was the thing. People were there to party because all they had to do was stagger across the parking lot and crash at the haunted hotel
or their car. And I've seen many of that going on.
Right.
People crashing out in their cars and vans.
And it was just this crazy party atmosphere there that it was like. You know, you didn't have to call an Uber. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to do that. It was like, okay, wherever you ended, that was it.
Last call, little night swim. Go down and get a little wet down there in the lake and crawl off to the bed.
We had some hellacious Halloween parties out there. Those were just crazy.
Epic.
So, do you ever have any ghost influences in the haunted hotel?
Stories? I never experienced anything. I know every time we go there, we would try to, push the boundaries. And one night, the closest we came to doing anything that was, of any adventure was the one night we actually got into the room, like the supposedly the most haunted room of them all. And it was like a family suite and you know how they always had they had the theme for the room?
Right.
Well, it looked like it was the Brady Bunch theme because all these bedspreads were like, very kid friendly and, balloons and shit on the walls. And so it's just like real, like Pop-Tarty Brady bunch, and there were three of us. I think there were like three of us that were just laid out in these beds, like, the three bears, like the Golak and three bears. We're laying on this bed, and I'm just waiting. And of course, 3 sheets to the wind. So we were all buzzed, and we're just laying there in total silence. And then, somebody would like burp or fart or start laughing, and it would just kill the. But
yeah. You're
never experienced anything. I mean, we wanted to.
The fart would scare the ghost away. A lot of people don't know that. When you're on a ghost hunt and somebody farts, you're going to screw the whole thing up.
It's all gone.
Yeah. So,
that was it. Never got any good ghost stories out of there.
Yeah, I know.
Good times though.
Our good friend Dawn out there, bartender extraordinaire.
Absolutely.
She said, I got some stories from Conneaut Lake. I said, just hold off on those. Let's be careful. And then at first I said, well, what happens at Conneaut Lake stays at Conneaut Lake, but that's not true. What happens at Conneaut Lake, everybody knows 3 minutes after it happens.
Absolutely.
No discretion whatsoever. It's like, you're not Freddie naked in front of the piano.
Oh, that was classic.
You're like, oh, okay.
I feel like I got word of that before I even left my room the next morning.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear about Freddie playing naked at the piano? I was like, no, I wish I would have seen that. I've seen him naked on a dress and address it for the Halloween costume.
Oh, yeah. Now, I remember one time going way back in the Lazarus days, you guys were playing at the Palms at the time. And me and Casey come out there, and it was just, I think the weather sucked, and the thing was a bust. It was a complete bust that night. And plus we had the time change.
At the Palms Hotel?
No, the Palms across the street.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
This is going way, way back,
right.
Man. And you guys had your bus there and everything, and it was like, for some reason, it was just a bust.
That.
And we were there until 3 o'clock in the morning because the time changed.
Yeah.
And I think we had 10 people there, and Butch called me up just to beat on the drums for a couple of minutes.
This is scary, but I don't even remember that.
Do you know our guitar player in the Earthquakers owned that place?
Really?
Yep.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
That's crazy. The Palms out there. Because that was a cool place.
Oh, yeah.
I wish you could pick that place up and drop it off like somewhere around here.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a great venue. Acoustics were great. One of the greatest pictures we ever got, you took, remember when we were outside in the Sugar Skulls?
Oh, yeah.
And it was pitch dark. Remember that? We're standing out there. He's like, hey, you guys look over here and take it. I'm thinking, man, he's not going to get shit out of here. It's pitch dark.
Oh, I know.
And you took that picture. It was like one of the best ones when we were in the Sugar Skulls that year.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was really wild.
It was blacker than black.
Oh, yeah. So, why don't we just start with everybody's musical histories? Merlin, let's start with you down there, and then we'll just go right around the table. Now, what bands did you play in before, and how did you wind up with these guys? And just go through your whole...
Around the block, not a bunch of big bands, but I've just known the guys for a while. I knew Gary, the old bass player, and just knew everybody, got the call.
Some other mutual musicians that we had our eye on. We had our eye on them I'll never forget the first time I saw him because I knew his mom and his stepdad at the time. And he was like, you got to come out and check out my stepson, man. He's really rocking on the bass. And he was. He's if anybody's, obviously if you've seen him, he's a serious talent. But even young, even like when he was really young and just starting out, had some serious talent. So.
And you probably hear that all the time because everybody probably says, oh, you got to come and see my kid. You got to come.
Oh, yeah. True. And then they suck. And you're like, oh, man, they're great. Yeah, just stick with it, man.
I heard you're looking for a guy. Come on.
Just stay with it.
This is the guy.
Keep going. Never quit.
Yeah. Now, how about you, Ken? What were some of the bands you played in? And,
well, I started out young with Ron. He's
Ronnie Williams,
the old guitar player, in Kashmir. And then I gave it up for a long time, 13 years or something like that. And then
was it that long?
Yeah. Then I came back and I was with Filthy McNasty and then Green Beans. And
with him?
Yeah, I remember Green Beans. Yeah.
So that was that connection with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, when Ron went into semi-retirement, we snagged him up.
Ron recommended me.
We started looking for guys with beards.
Am I next one in? I have no musical talent, but I'm working on it. Where'd you get this guy?
So then when Gary exited, we're like, man, we didn't know any other bearded bass players out there. And along came Merle. Actually, originally Merle was just he was gonna fill in for us because he was playing with G-Force. then,
yeah.
and you know, good band, well-established band, and they were like family. I mean, like, you know, with any other band, you know,
Right.
you've got this family unit.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, I'll fill in, but I can't leave the band. And then after he played, I think we ended up doing 2 or 3 shows, and that was it.
Oh, okay.
That was all it took. Right?
So, oh yeah, you know what? I was just thinking that. You know what? You just read my mind.
That was all it took.
You just read my mind. Pour another one here. Here we go. So what made you pick up the bass? Do you just play the bass? Are you a guitar player? You
Yeah, I play a little bit of
instruments?
everything. A little bit of keyboard, banjo, mandolin. You know,
Okay, so you're all around guy. So what got you into music?
Hanging out with my friends. I wasn't a bass player.
Uh-huh.
So I go, well, I guess I'll try this.
You never had a, what, you said nobody played bass, so you picked up the
nobody
bass?
plays bass.
That's hilarious.
So
Here's some Merle picking up the bass.
Hey, the Merle picking up the bass.
Critter McGillicuddy.
Critter,
There we go. Cheers. So, like, what bands got you into music? Who are some of the bands you like, and what influenced you, or who did you say, man, I heard you? Did you hear a record or something? Say, man, I got to get it. This is what I want to do.
Chili Peppers, big time. Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't know, Led Zeppelin, obviously. You know, going back.
He was raised right.
Yeah, a lot of that older stuff.
He was raised right.
You know, for my age, a lot of the older stuff. You know, going back to even the '50s music.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. So you're wide variety.
Yeah.
Wide variety.
Bluegrass. I like a lot of bluegrass.
Well, that's when you break out the Big Woody. That's one of the highlights of the
exactly.
show, when you break out the Big Woody.
Ride the wood, man.
Now, of course, we're talking about your giant stand-up bass.
I don't know what you're talking about, Freddie.
Yeah, I didn't want to make sure. You know. Oh, I'm the one that's on the wrong track. Okay.
He rides the wood too.
Oh yeah.
Piano seat.
Yeah, the only band that brings out a stand-up bass, and he always puts on a show with that.
That's awesome.
That's always great.
Really cool.
I'll tell you what, it went down for a little while, a couple years ago, and we heard about it. Man, people were like, dude, you know, what's
where's
up?
the Big Woody?
Where's Big Woody? Like, when are you going to bring Big Woody back? So we ended up tracking down Big Woody 2.0 and bought it from a church, I think, out in Boardman. And it was like pristine, man. It was in beautiful shape. Got a real good deal on it. We got to get that baby back out.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's a good one. That Paul McCartney owns the big stand-up bass that the guy that played with Elvis.
Yeah, Bill Black.
He owns that.
Really?
Oh yeah. Linda McCartney bought that for him for a birthday present.
Wow.
Can you imagine? That's what your wife buys you for your birthday.
Yeah.
The Elvis Presley stand-up bass. You know, that's just crazy.
I got robbed. Shortchanged.
So how about you, Ken?
I get great birthday gifts.
How about you, Ken? How'd you get started?
Probably Kiss.
That's a good start.
Metallica, and I started getting into the heavier stuff after that.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Megadeth and Slayer and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, my roots are funny.
Yeah. Let's go with Jimmy here. What was the first concert you went to?
Me?
Yeah.
I think my dad took me to a Kiss concert.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the first, Kiss Alive too, I think.
Wow.
Oh, there you go. So you're blown away by that and the whole 9 yards?
Yeah.
And then that's like, this is what I got to do. I got to get up there and give
I
that
rock. I want to rock. This is gonna date me.
Okay, I know.
And I mean, I know.
Hey, we're gonna get the butch too.
I'm a very young 41. I know.
Get the butch too.
I'm a very young 41. Actually, this is bleach. I bleach this.
Yeah.
But the person that drove me musically initially was Donny Osmond, 100%. Like when I was in kindergarten, I was completely taken by Donny Osmond and the 45s. I used to bring 45s actually to my kindergarten class, and like for show and tell. Yeah, I remember show and tell. I used to bring 45s in and sing to my kindergarten class, and that was like my first experience actually performing. But love Donny Osmond.
Okay, Donny Osmond. I have a real problem with Donny Osmond because right around that same time, he used to be on the Andy Williams show. The Osmond brothers were like their sidemen and stuff.
Right.
And I can remember this as clear as a bell to this day. I had to probably be like 5 years old, 6 years old. And the Osmond brothers come out and they're dressed like in barbershop quartet. And they got the red and white striped vest and they got the derby hats on and the little garters and everything.
I remember
and they start singing this song. And my mom just fell in love with Donny Osmond.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the whole thing. Look how cute that little boy is. Oh, isn't he something?
So you hated him.
I was like, Mom, what are you talking about? I mean, the whole show. And even after it was over, she goes, how about the little kid with the derby?
So she
and
couldn't
everything?
stop. She couldn't
Yeah,
stop
and I was
watching.
like, okay, enough. I get it. But she took me to the point where it's
Yeah.
like, Donny Osmond, you got to stop. Stop with the Donny Osmond.
Oh, I was
already.
completely taken by it. I mean, you did notice the Lazarus colors were purple.
Right.
Where do you think that came? Where do you think that came from? And my socks. My socks were purple. The band was purple. But
I think that
grew
was
up.
from my guitar, though.
Yeah, true. I grew up with a lot of music,
Ron
a lot of
loved
music in my life.
guitar.
My stepdad actually was a huge Cat Stevens fan.
Okay.
So being young, I remember kind of growing up, for after Donny Osmond and kind of getting into, like what I would consider, reputable music, and rock and roll and R&B. My stepdad was big time into Stevie Wonder. I remember him showing us the whole line dance thing. We would do that, times.
Yeah.
And he was a huge Cat Stevens fan, and I just grew to love Cat Stevens. And that was actually my first concert. I was in second grade, and my, back then in this I think it was probably 76, 77, I was in second grade. And my parents took me to see Cat Stevens in Munich, Germany. And
But you saw Cat Stevens in Munich, Germany.
yeah, well, we were in Germany. My stepdad was in the military.
Oh, okay.
So I was an Army brat. So we were over there in 76. And we actually, where we saw the concert, it was where Mark Spitz had won all those Olympic. I remember my stepdad telling me that. See that pool down there? Was it this big, huge Olympic thing, this Coliseum or whatever?
Right.
And they were like, yeah, right down here is where Mark Spitz won all these Olympic gold medals. But huge fan. And then I remember going in. I remember them coming out with all the lights and the crazy theatrics. And there were these guys running around in these jumpsuits, these colored jumpsuits, throwing these boxes, just juggling these boxes, throwing them back and forth. And all at once, as the music was kind of climaxing, they go and they stack these boxes in the center, and then boom, big puff of smoke, and he jumps out, the front door opens up.
That's how Cat Stevens come on stage.
That's how he entered the stage.
Moonshadow and stuff, and so they had this spectacle going on.
Huge theatrical rock and roll thing. I mean, I remember being just mesmerized by it. And my parents tell me that I only made it through about 3 or 4 songs because, I was in second grade.
Yeah.
And there was a strange aroma that was just throughout the room. And all I remember is craving Doritos and guacamole, and I was out. That was it. I was done. That was it. That was my first concert.
That's how you got started. Now, Butch I saw he posted not too long ago on Facebook, one of his first shows. You saw Buddy Rich at Cherry's on top of the mall. They used to have this supper club in the Eastwood Mall upstairs, where people were still going with suits and ties and stuff, and the parents would get all dressed up. Now you saw Buddy Rich there, and you were like Jimmy, right, in second, third grade or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a real big deal for me. Buddy Rich was a huge. It's funny you talk about Donny Osmond, because I remember, God, my parents used to make me sing to his records.
You look like a whole bunch, baby.
But Buddy Rich was a huge deal at that time. I just school band, drum lessons, Warren Junior Military Band.
Oh, you're in the Warren
anything
Junior
I could
Military
get
Band,
into.
huh?
Yeah, my sister was really big into it. Got to play in front of the Queen of England and take some really nice trips with the Warren Junior Military Band. So I got into it. Just unfortunate, shortly after I got into it, I moved to live with my dad down south. But those were the things I aspired. But I could tell you, Freddie, that I can remember the day, and I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but he's a local legend musician, and I'm not bagging on him at all, but I always wanted to be this great drummer. And I remember I was in High Tech, which I was like the youngest guy in that band by 10 years, which I'm happy because I learned a lot from those. Some great musicians were in that band. And this guy, this local legend, came up to me, had 2 beers, white stuff under his nose, and he's telling me that my timing was bad. And I'm thinking in my head, like, you would know, right? But it was that moment that I actually discarded all of that wanting to be a drummer's drummer and just be a regular, everyday drummer for the people in the audience.
Right.
It was
Thank
that
God.
moment at the time I was using a big giant drum set with all these, little chimes and trying to be a little Neil Peart ripoff and all this stuff. And it was at that time that I decided that, these are the people that are smiling back at me. These are the people that are making my world go around, and I'm going to drum for them. So it was really an eye-opening thing for me. But I was like, because back in them
So you lost the brushes.
Yeah,
And you picked up the whipple ball bats.
Yeah. No, but it was a big deal for me because I just wanted to. I wanted to play well, but I just wanted to entertain people. Yeah, that's.
And
all
you are probably one of the most entertaining drummers around there. Butch
Absolutely.
on the drums is a show in himself. So when he's spinning them sticks and everything around, a lot of times you don't get a show from the drummer, but
Absolutely.
Butch excels at that.
A show within a show. I say it.
Getting him back in the band. How's that fired you guys up?
It's been amazing. It's been amazing. We've had a lot of too much practice. Yeah, we actually had to start. We actually started having rehearsing. We had to start rehearsing. We were a non-practicing band.
I think we're up to 3 now.
But I'll tell you what, though, with COVID, this whole COVID thing, it kind of set us. We had to actually come back out before Butch joined us. We had to come back out because we had that that lull of 2, 3 months, 4 months, however long it was. We hadn't played, and we had to get together and rehearse and picked up some new things. And somewhere along there, Dustin decided to call it a day. He kind of had it. Yeah. And I think a lot of it was due to COVID. Like looking back on it, I think everybody's kind of in a funk and in a kind of a state of depression.
Well, I'm glad that things are starting to come back. Now, you guys have played a few gigs at like El Cowboy and a couple other ones, or is that your first one back?
And that's another great point. Thank God for Israel and some of these people that still have the balls. Yep. I mean, let's call it what it is. Have the balls to just know that they're not going to have the numbers, know that they're not going to have the money coming in, but they're still willing to take a chance and have the live bands. Right. Kudos to Israel. There's some other bars that are doing it.
Yeah, you guys will be playing the Ice House pretty soon.
Yep, we're playing the Ice House. March. But he never stopped.
No, I know.
El Cowboy never stopped. We played up a creek all through the summer. Yeah. So there were certain places that had it. Other bands they just couldn't. Other bars couldn't. I understand that. Right. But this whole thing was just
rough. Israel too, man. I mean, and he didn't skimp on like the bands. I mean, Old School. I think he's got Old School coming up this weekend and Disco Inferno. And you guys,
we're there Saturday.
Oh yeah, let's make sure we get that. So Saturday night, you guys are going to
this Saturday. El Cowboy, come out.
Yeah.
Support a great band, great restaurant, and a great guy, man.
Hey, and if you haven't seen them lately, they're up to practicing 3 days a week.
Yeah, dude, we're tight. Tight.
3 days.
Oh, 3 days. My bad. Never mind.
Did you say 3 days a week?
3 days in 2021.
No, it's been like 3 practices in like 10 years.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
This is like our third. I think we're going.
But we picked up. No, honestly, when Dustin said he was, thinking about calling it a day. Yeah. In fact, he even suggested, he's like, maybe you guys could get Butch or, named a couple other people. And he had been, kind of in my ear about joining this band for quite a few years. Right. Even when he was with the Earthquakers, he was like, I'd love to just, we've got history, we're brothers from way back. And it was like, it would just be really nice to play again. So he was my first call. And he jumped on it, and we're thrilled to have him. It's so nice to have, like I said, it's a show within a show. Yep. We've added another whole dimension to the band. Takes a little bit of the load off of us. Yeah. Me.
Yeah, but these guys are so good.
Please don't stop.
No.
Keep going.
No, they really are just great musicians. These two here. I mean, I'm always a sucker for a great bass player. Well, Merle to me is really the pinnacle of that. Ken is one of the first things I said to these guys after our first practice was, "Wow, you guys sing some great backup vocals." Remember I said that, Ken? I never paid attention because I was out in the audience just.
Well, here's the bitch about that. Typically, once they have about 3 or 4 drinks, they don't pay attention to me.
They bail.
So they bail. My uncle says that all the time. He's a musician.
Wait. You mean the Huckin Fillbillys drink when they're on stage working?
Occasionally, Freddie. Don't listen to the hype. But like, my uncle's like, yeah, he goes, those guys come out, they got great backing vocals. They'll play, the first set, they're singing all the backing, and then they just disappear. I'm like, yeah, don't worry, I'm on their case now.
Yeah.
I'm watching
That's
them.
usually because we can't hear it.
Yeah.
Right? Hear that?
1 second. Let's go back to Buddy Rich at Cherries on Top of the Mall. What was that show like, and what was the whole deal?
It was. I had been to Cherries a couple times. We didn't get out a whole lot with my mom back in them days, so it was a real special time. And I remember her taking me and my brother to Kmart, and I got a powder blue leisure suit, and my brother got like a green that was probably color. Yeah.
She have a ruffled shirt.
Fast Freddie, it was really special, but it was really hard to remember.
Yeah, because of that
from
age.
that.
All the cocaine and whiskey, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, from I was really into that stuff when I was 6, 7 years old. No, but it was really neat. And anytime I could be around live music, and then there's the legend, the best drummer in the world right in front of me. It was really something.
Yeah. Were you close?
But it was one of those deals where I was short. I'm trying to look around.
And even like Jimmy, was talking about Cat Stevens and Munich and stuff, and maybe only lasted 3 songs. But when you get kids that age, that still sticks with you. Because it's so big. Even though you're this size, that's a lot to suck in at a young age.
Here all these years later, I still remember the theatrics of that show. Yep. These guys running around the stage tossing these boxes, and him making his grand entrance. But it was pretty cool. It was awesome. It definitely made an impact.
Barb Cerny says, ask Jimmy about that great big flask.
It's coming back.
All right.
Post-pandemic, it's coming back. Like, in fact, the last time we played.
Stole the last one.
No, I still got a couple. I still got a couple, but when this whole pandemic started, of course, we couldn't pass the flask around.
Right.
And so we did have bottles. We still had bottles. Mark, occasionally.
Since you got your hand on that.
Mark from Up a Creek, he'd always throw us a bottle. Israel was always throwing a bottle of tequila at us. Yeah. And we'd have the little thing, and we were just, we'd start feeding people, and
right.
Even the last time we played El Cowboy, we were able to, we're still passing out a little bit of love to our people.
Yeah, there we go.
And they know what to expect when they come out and see us.
All right, let's go back now. Okay, now, what were some of the first bands that you started in?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, so back to Germany. I ended up going back to the same base in Germany.
Oh, okay.
Years later. So I spent all my high school years in Bamberg, Germany. And I was a drummer. Actually, I started playing drums first. I was a drummer. Uh-oh. And we could never find a singer. Yeah. So much like Merle, they could never find a bass player. They could never find a bass player. We could never find a singer. Yeah. So I always did the whole Phil Collins thing, which just sucked. I always hated that when a drummer sang lead.
Yeah, how hard is it to for a drummer to sing?
It wasn't that difficult, honestly. Yeah. I just hated it because you're sitting down, first of all, so you're not able to sing to your full potential. And you just got these drums in front of you. So it's just, I always hated it. And then it ended up that that was my first band. Cold Sweat was the name of the band in Germany.
Okay,
we were
so
a 3-piece.
You're playing bands in Germany.
Oh, 15. I was 15.
Now where were the places you were playing?
We played like at the youth play. It was DYA.
Okay.
So it was like a YMCA, but it was military.
Right.
DYA. And we'd have these great turnouts, man. Like all the kids on bass would show up. So there'd be like 200 kids in this small little room. It was like, I felt like it was Motley Crue,
Yeah. What songs were you playing?
It was great. 3/4 of the set that we're playing now.
We haven't changed.
Yeah. Some old cars, like old cars, old Aerosmith, then new Motley Crue, but now it's old Motley Crue. Yeah. So we were playing like Rat and Motley Crue then, but it was fresh, but it was like literally probably 3/4 of what I played then. I'm playing at least 50% of that now. But anyway,
like I said, remember the lyrics anymore.
So I'm playing drums and singing. And this one day, these GIs come walking in. And they were, intimidating. These older GIs come walking in. And they're like, dude, who's singing? And, like me, I'm the little guy back here behind the drums. And they're like, man, would you join our band? Why don't you just come sing for us? And I'm like, I don't know, it's me. I got him playing with my buddy, and he's like, well, hey, he can join the band too. We need another guitar player. So I thought about it. I was like, okay, I'll come check that out. So literally, I went down to their practice one day and got to stand up with a microphone and sing. And no drums in front of me. And I was, like I said, I was probably 16. Well, this is before my nuts dropped, and I'm like wailing. I'm singing Motley Crue like Vince Neil, and all these other GIs from all the other practice rooms were coming in and going, "Who the hell's singing? Who's doing this?" And so, not toot my own horn, but it was very flattering to say the least. I got all these what I look to be adult soldiers coming in the room, checking out, who this guy was singing. I was like, I'm done with the drums. Piss on that. I don't got to haul drums. I can stand up and sing. And I'm kind of getting.
Prima donna, just come in.
Diva.
You guys do all the heavy lifting. You do all the work. And then he just stands up
that
there.
Was Diva day one right there. I was like, what? I can sing and not haul gear? Fuck, I'm in. So, but that was it. Like, once I got up behind the drums, we obviously joined the band.
Yeah.
And then my mom, it was funny. My mom used to. My very first rock and roll concert was Iron Maiden. Actually, after Iron Maiden at Fastway at the Coliseum. So I had these Iron Maiden T-shirts, and I love the drummer from Iron Maiden. Yeah. And
where? Cleveland Coliseum?
Cleveland Coliseum, yeah, Fastway and Iron Maiden.
I think about it. I think that's
you were
what
probably
it
there.
Was. Yeah,
you were
that
there.
Was my first concert.
But
my cousin Kenny.
That was one of my first concerts.
Yeah, like your first official concert.
Yeah. So my mom always had this thing, about the devil and rock and roll and all this stuff. Yeah. And especially with me wearing Iron Maiden T-shirts.
Right.
But everybody was getting their ears pierced, and I wanted to get my ear pierced. My mom was like, "Don't you dare!" My mom was a great woman. Everybody knows my mom. Her bark was worse than her bite. But she's like, "Don't you dare! You're not getting your ear pierced. If you get your ear pierced, I'm going to take those drums out in the front yard and I'm going to burn them." So now that I'm a singer, I sold my drums. I sold my drums to go on a field trip to Crete, the island of Crete, with my girlfriend at the time when I was in Germany. And literally on the bus to the airport, I had a girl freeze my ear with a frozen Capri Sun and pierce my ear like on day one. So I come back from the week in Crete, and I'm black as black. I mean, I look Jamaican, and I've got this big old silver hoop, and I'm like, I come in. I mean, I'm the darkest I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you notice anything? She still doesn't look. And I mean, I've got this big old jingly earring. So yeah, that's how I got my ear pierced.
Okay.
But that was it, man. I never looked back. I became.
Now then, when did you land in Youngstown?
Came back to Niles in '86.
Now, was your dad originally from here, and then you guys? Oh, yep.
My dad, my father, and my stepfather were from Niles, so we were all from Niles.
Oh, okay.
Niles area. Yeah. So I came back to Niles, and I was here for not too long, really. I mean, I don't think I was here. It was probably less than about the summertime, and it was funny because my mom's connection, all of my connections were through my mom. My mom's best friend, her husband was friends with the original drummer for Pure Rock, which became Lazarus, his father. And somehow through talking, this guy was like, yeah, my son's band's looking for a singer, man. They can't find a singer. They can't seem to find a singer and hold on to a singer. He's like, get out of here. He's like, my wife's best friend's son just came back from Germany. He sings in a band. So somehow they got my number through this contact. And I'll never forget, those Gary from Lazarus, right. Gary and Bobby Conrad. Right. They picked me up one day, and I mean, I'm 18 probably. I think I was 18, maybe. Is that 19.
When I met you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Before that, I had just come back with Tina, the girl that I had gone to the Iron Maiden concert, a cousin of mine. Her father had taken Tina and a couple of her girlfriends and me to see Iron Maiden. Well, Tina also took me out when I came back from Germany. And she's like, you got to come see this band, High Tech. We go see him. And the drummer look like you could be brothers.
Brothers.
You guys are like twins. You guys are like twins. So I go out and of course his hair was way longer than mine. He was way cooler looking than me. So, but I'm seeing, so I finally meet Butch, and he's like, I told him my story about me singing in bands and stuff. He's like, well, you got to come up and sing a song with us. So I think you guys called me up. I did one or two. I know I did Fastway.
Song. Yeah.
I did Say What You Will by Fastway.
Right after the show, he said you were pumped.
And the funniest thing is, you know what? For the first, I had never done this before, but for some reason, when I got on stage with this animal, and he's just back there, you know how he is, spinning and bashing and
beat my drums hard.
And I started, for some reason, I just started slamming his cymbals, like punching his cymbals with my fist. And we both kind of made a connection that night. We're like, we've got to play together. Like we got to play together. It was like true love. Yeah. Right? It was. It's like we got to play together. And then like years later, we ended up pulling him into Lazarus. So he was.
So Lazarus was your first band when you come back, or
Pure Rock was like it lasted that long. It was just it was maybe 6 months. Not even I don't even know it was a year. Yeah. But some of the guys from that band. We created Lazarus. Like it went from, which I never really liked the Pure Rock name. Yeah. You know, that was established. It was them. Yeah. There were some partiers. I think it had something to do with that.
Who was in
Pure
that?
Rock.
Who was in that?
That was Gary, Bob Conrad, Rod Bianco, Craig. I don't know if Craig Bruno wasn't even in that band yet. But we pulled Craig in with Lazarus. So it was Rod, Gary, Bob, and then me. And then we ended up splitting up and got a new drummer. Phil Dation, he was the original drummer for Lazarus, and Craig Bruno, and then Gary and Bob were sitting at I think it was a Burger King, and these I don't know if they were Jehovah's Witness or some but some holy rollers came through, and they gave them some religious pamphlets. Of course, they looked like they needed a little. Looked like they needed a little religion. So here's these long-haired trench coat wearing guys. Who needs this? And they read this pamphlet, and it was literally the story of Lazarus. And they were like, "Dude, that's a cool name for a band." And I remember them guys calling me and going, "What do you think of the name Lazarus for a band?" I'm like, "It just sounded cool." I was like, "Lazarus, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. That sounds great." Yeah.
Now, when you were in High Tech, who was all in that band, and where were some places you guys were playing then?
Well, we did all well, Youngstown was our big stomping grounds. You know, JB. We were the first rock band to play in JB's. JB's was a jazz club.
I never knew that.
Yep. The Park Inn. We played CNR Saloon. We did a few other clubs.
CNR was a fun place. Oh yeah, on Market Street.
Jimmy Vass. You know Jimmy Vass?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, what a great guy. What a wonderful guitar player. And what a great teacher to me. Jim Vrabel, Ron Molinari was his name. And then, we switched a couple members as time went on. But those guys were 28 years old. I was maybe 17, and I remember thinking, God, I hope I'm not still playing clubs at 28 years old.
So much
now
for that.
I'm 54 years old. No, but
you hush your mouth.
Yeah, a lot of good times. A lot of good times.
Go ahead, crack it open, man. Yeah, I knew I saw Ken looking at that bottle of Jack. Open it up, man. Go ahead.
Do you remember Laura Galgozzi?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She was in that band, and pretty fun band. Huh?
No.
You guys are dragging me.
You hush your mouth.
Oh, here. Well, I got.
Yeah, you got to catch up. Go ahead.
I got to catch up. What do you mean I got to catch up? I'm one ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you about
you're running
when I
this
first
show.
went to see Lazarus. There was a lot of talks going on, almost like Hard Luck. I knew Paul Sheehan and Scott Gearhart way before I got hired in the band, and we'd keep before social media. You had to go out and keep an eye on each other, right?
Right.
So anyway, I was talking to my then girlfriend, but now my wife. I was like, "Yeah, Jimmy is." They've been asking me if I wanted to maybe check them out, and I said, they're down the road, let's go see them. So we're sitting there in the audience, and back in the day, everybody stood up, right, in the audience. And so Jimmy, I think you were playing keys, right? Just a little
intro thing.
Like a little
it was
intro
the last
thing.
Song, second to the last song of the night.
Second to last song of the night, and I'm sitting there like this watching. All of a sudden, one of the roadies lets off every freaking pyro that they have, blows the whole goddamn stage to shreds.
The drywall was falling
all
off
the lights blew off. The bass drum heads blew off. The PA system was totally toast.
Blew some speakers inside out.
The
Blew out my
audience-
wireless microphone.
The audience hit the deck, and I was like, me
where
and my
was this?
wife.
Seclusions.
So me and my wife were standing there, and I looked at her and I said, "That was the most awesome thing I ever saw in my life. I've got to get in a band with these dudes." They blew the whole stage up,
And we were like, "Are you in?"
James like, "You in? Good night." He didn't know what else to
I
say.
couldn't even say anything over the microphone. That was my first wireless blown
It was
out.
absolutely awesome.
That's crazy. Hey, to blowing the roof off the
pyro.
literally pyro. baby.
Here's the pyro.
Cheers.
That was a good night. I remember that night.
I'll never forget it.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, little different there than the fire jet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, Seclusions was a wild time. Boy.
Seclusions was a good time. I had my 21st birthday there. I remember making a beeline. Speaking of Jack Daniels, you know what? Somebody brought me, and I didn't even drink Jack. I was a tequila guy.
Yeah.
But somebody bought me a bottle of Jack with some balloons. I'll never forget it. Turned 21. And, obviously I was playing with Gary. And we were pretty tore up. It was my 21st birthday. And it was like with the little mini bottles, not quite, a little bit smaller than this.
Right.
Well, I got my liquid balls on because I'm drunk. I'm already got a buzz. And I cracked that bottle. It was towards the end of the night. And I just started chugging it like iced tea. Gary finally comes over and grabs it out of my hand. So we finished the night. And, when you're playing, you got that, your adrenaline's going.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even catch up to you. As soon as we finished, I remember it just hitting me. And I made a beeline, like the Red Sea parted.
Yeah.
I made a beeline straight through Seclusion because they didn't have air conditioning
Right.
back. You remember, July 22nd. So I make a beeline through the crowd, out the front door, and I'm literally puking my guts out in the front of the bar, arm up against the stage, and everybody's like, "Good night, Jimmy. Happy birthday, Jimmy." And I'm like, like this. Good times.
Oh, awesome times.
Young kids, don't drink or do drugs. Especially now. They're
Or
no
getting a
good.
rock and roll band. You don't want any. It's like that Dewey Cox story. Did you ever see that movie, The Dewey Cox story?
Oh, yeah. Walk
Hey,
hard
what do
or
you?
something?
Yeah, walk hard. Yeah. What are you doing in there? We're smoking marijuana. You don't want none of this, Dewey. Yeah. What does that do? It makes you feel good and it makes you want to have sex. They're doing big fat lies. What's going on in here? We're doing cocaine, Dewey. You don't want none of this. It makes you feel good and it makes you want to party all night. I think I'll have me some cocaine.
Good movies.
Yeah, so where did Lazarus play their first gig? Where did you guys get started at?
Lazarus. Actually, I think one of our first gigs when we first came out, because there was a lot of we kind of took some time off to do the whole original thing. We were writing songs. And I think we actually opened up for White Noise at Studio West.
That had to be a good
If
night,
I'm not
huh?
mistaken, I think one of our first nights out was playing with those guys opening up.
Oh, that had to be a lot of
Which
fun.
was a good, because back in the day, Studio West and White Noise, it was all good.
Yeah, Paul Skyron, man, I just had him on not too long ago.
Yeah.
He's out there jamming still.
Yep, still playing.
Jimmy Gamino was my cousin.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
my cousin.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Is he still alive, I reckon?
Yeah, so then of course JB's was probably one of the big places.
Well, you helped us with that.
Yeah, JB's,
You helped us with
man,
that.
I'll tell you. Remember back in the day when you guys could just like bring in your songs and stuff, and we could play them, and we'd be doing JB's, whether it was me or Cornell or Casey, Kim Monroe. Everybody would be down there, and
I'll never forget. Joe. I mean, you remember Joe. What a pain in the ass he was. I mean, I loved him at the end.
Grief master.
Oh yeah.
Cornell used to call him the grief master.
Well, I'll never forget. We had gone in there we played one night, and for some reason, imagine that him and Gary kind of bumped heads or something.
Yeah, we had to go in for free.
I think it was those two had bumped heads on something. And Gary was he had our back. I mean, he was back in the band, and Joe was being his usual dick self, know. And
we're not making fun of a dead guy or anything. That's just the way it was.
And at the end, I loved him.
Yeah.
Me and Joe were like this.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I used to celebrity bartend back. I mean, we used to run that place. But we played there one time, and this is what one of the first renditions of Lazarus. This is still actually with Bobby Conrad and Craig Bruno, and one of our original drummers, I believe. And then some time had gone by, and we had got this whole new lineup. Now I think it was Ronnie, Doug,
me and Ron
you,
joined it the same day.
You guys, and so it was a whole new lineup, and we were really starting to blow up. Like we were blowing up in Warren. We were doing seclusions and just packing the place, and things were blowing up
fast.
And Cornell actually went to bed. I thought it was you. It might have been you. I thought maybe Cornell. I'm thinking.
I'll take credit though. But
take credit.
It was me. Yeah, just say it was me anyway.
Okay.
We'll
Fast Freddie went to bed. He was like, Joe, I'm telling you, you gotta have Lazarus in here. You gotta have this band in here. And he was like, typical Joe, fuck those guys, blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the other. And he said, I'm telling you, I think he even went as far as to say, I'll pay for you to have them for the first time in or something. He goes, I'll tell you what if they come in and play for free? And he literally Joe was on to that.
How many other bands you got? Okay, bring them.
Joe agreed on that. And you know what? We were so hungry to break into that scene that we were like, you know what? Cornell was like, I'll tell you what. He said, yes, but you got to play for free. And we were like, fuck it, let's do it. Yeah. So we came down there and smoked it. Like, I mean, we just blew it up. And then Joe was our best friend, you know. Yeah. He was our best friend, and we were actually back in the day. We were making top dollar back then.
Oh, and you were packing the place
for sure. Yeah,
with all the bands that used to play at JB's back in the day. I mean, but you guys were like right up there, man.
Oh yeah,
it
was
if
nuts.
Lazarus was playing at JB's or Seclusions, those used to be like huge nights.
Yeah, and advertisements on CD 106, 93.
That's how I'd find out where we were playing. I'd be like, I just said I have to play at JB's tonight. I had no idea.
You hear like a bullet from a gun. JB's this Saturday night.
Now you guys recently released all the Lazarus stuff.
Yeah, you know what? It was funny. This is a few years ago. I think Ronnie kind of he's always connected with everything that's going on out there.
Right.
He really stays out connected with like everything that's going out there, via internet and music wise. And I think it was a couple 2-3 years ago, he sent us all like on a group message that one of our Lazarus double CDs was going for like some ridiculous amount. Like it was on eBay for like $250 or something.
I got the Misbehaving cassette autographed by the whole band. What is that?
Dude, that's like a grand. That's like a grand.
Holy shit, I have to keep that in mind here.
I think you could get a grand and an 8-ball for that.
Really?
I'm like,
no, that's going on eBay tomorrow. What time is it here?
No, Freddie, you can't get shit for that now.
Oh, okay.
But he was like, he's like, yeah, check this out. And it was this astronomical number that they were asking for. So then, and we were like, what's up with that? That's ridiculous. Like, who would pay that? And he was telling us how there's this kind of underground 80s metal world, this underworld, this unsigned underworld. And he goes, these guys are crazy for this stuff. And I think actually friends of ours, also Tony, also from Love Turns Hate, he was in XX Bad Boys. Mm-hmm. And I think Alan had been contacted by somebody, one of these independent labels, and they had released one of the XX Bad Boys cassettes and put it on CD. So these guys had reached out to us as well.
Yeah.
And it was through that connection that these guys were re-releasing these unsigned bands.
Yeah.
So it's actually doing pretty well from what he says. Really? Yeah, from what he says.
Yeah, you know what? Next time you come down, we'll throw some cuts on and stuff.
Okay.
Because it's not time for us to wrap up. Far from it. But you guys are going to come back, right?
For sure, absolutely. Yeah. Hell yeah, we can come down here and drink and talk shit. We're in.
Hey, don't forget too. We got to remind everybody. Saturday night. El Cowboys.
Saturday night, El
Cowboys will be there to rock the house. Want to make sure we get some people in there and pack the joint.
The curfew's lifted.
Yep.
Unfortunately, everybody's still, we're doing the masks and the no dancing, which just sucks. But, it is what it is,
Jerry Senefani says, love Joey Carlamagno, but he was the cheapest fucker on the planet. You know that, Jerry.
So Jerry knew him then.
Hey, and for us to get the pay that we got back then, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Because he was, man.
Oh.
But we just, it was a good thing. I mean, that was right before we went out on the road.
Keith Burke is checking in with us here this afternoon.
Keithy B.
Yeah, let's see. Mike Magalia checking in. I haven't heard from Mike for a while. Uncle Stevie Manginelli checking in.
Lee says I used to set up for High Tech when I was 16 or 17.
Keith is checking in. How come you guys didn't bring Keith?
Keith, he's retired, man.
Oh, is he retired?
He's retired. He still comes out every once in a while.
Retired or fired?
Well, we fired him multiple times. But he always came back. So yeah, he had to retire himself.
Oh, okay.
Us firing him didn't do shit.
You gotta love him.
No, except he's a Michigan fan. He's kind of
Yeah.
I think I would have got rid of him just with that Michigan.
Everybody's got their faults.
Yeah,
Right?
he's been dropped on his head a few times, but he was a good guy. He still comes out and helps us on occasion.
Oh, that's good.
Now we got Billy.
Oh,
We got
okay.
Billy boy. He's filled in.
Billy Steele.
There we go. Yeah. So JB's, that used to just be a crazy time.
Oh, it was
You're
good
talking
times.
about XX Bad Boy and Raggedy Ann and all them bands that used to play there. I mean, we used to
All
have a good
buddies.
time.
I mean, we all kind of grew up,
You know what's
grew up
crazy?
together
You
right
know
along.
what's the craziest show there? When Bruce Dickinson played
yeah.
there on the Tattoo Millionaire
Yeah.
tour.
Yeah,
that's
Did you
crazy.
believe Bruce Dickinson
Yeah.
played there?
Yeah.
And,
Seen him at the Cleveland Coliseum with Iron Maiden, and then he's there.
Fox,
oh yeah.
Who the hell else? But there's a lot of bands jumped
Rick
out.
Ace
Derringer
Frehley.
played there. Ace
Ace
played there.
Frehley.
Ace played there.
Shotgun
Humble
Messiah.
Pie.
We were huge fans of
Yeah,
Shotgun
Shotgun
Messiah.
Oh yeah, they were a good band.
Great band.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. Actually, right before, oh my God, what was his name? Who was the?
Oh wait, Keith just responded. He said, "Fired, retired. It's all the same thing."
Oh my God, who was the?
All pays the same.
Who ran the show at City 106 there for the longest time?
Gary J.
Gary J.
Yeah, Gary J.
Gary J. Remember when he kind of stepped in to kind of manage us?
Yeah.
I'll never forget. He was like, "Hey, dude, you guys want me? I'd like to manage you guys. I want to put you on the road." You know, he did the whole cigar.
Oh yeah, right,
He's
right,
like,
right.
"Come on in, boys, sit down."
It was a pair
The
of-
cigar.
Yeah, as Chanel glasses or something.
we all
right,
go.
yeah.
We all go in to meet with him.
Come
you know?
in here, dear boy.
Yeah, have a cigar.
We're gonna go
far. But he's like, listen, I got a good friend from Lansing, Michigan. He's an agent. He goes, we'll get you up and down the East Coast and this, that, and the other. We're just excited as hell.
Yeah.
I know this is a sad story. this is a sad story for Butch.
Okay,
This is where for Bruce. He had to make an exit on this, but we're sitting at his desk and we were talking about how we want to put out a CD and man, we just want to get signed and we want to, we want to do it, And he's like, well, dude, he goes, you got to get out there. He goes, you know how many CDs I come across my desk every day? They're trying to make it. He's like this. And he picks up Shotgun Messiah. He's like, this sucks. This is shit. And we're like, dude, we love that fucking CD. That's like our favorite. That's in our CD player right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this sucks. I'm like,
I hope we were going to start off by opening for these guys.
I'm like, have you heard fucking Heartbreak Boulevard? That's a great song.
No, we heard on that kind of
stuff. But he was like, no, but he did do us something. That was, I gotta say, that was probably, we were just talking about that on the way here. I can't remember what the story was. Probably can't even talk about it, about being on the road.
Yeah.
But we were doing it. We were playing.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We went out there. We were playing 6-7 nights a week. I remember at one point we had played 16 out of 17 nights in a row. We played like 11 days, took one day off, and then played 6. It was ridiculous. Losing my voice. We had to keep tuning down. We were like a half step tune. Then we did a full step, and then I'm still going, no, we can't sing that song tonight,
Yeah.
But he did. He put us out there, and we got a taste for the road. Yeah. We all dropped like 20 pounds. I mean, I don't know if you remember that. We came back, I was going shirtless. I got my nipple pierced. I'm
right.
Now you'd have to put a gun to my head to take my shirt off on stage. But he really, no,
nothing else.
Definitely not you. But no, that was a great experience. I mean, it was a very humbling experience.
I actually like to hang items off my pierced nipples every once in a while.
Especially in the cold.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so he did us some justice.
Yeah, you guys were really on a roll there at that
We missed it. We missed it, man. The grunge thing swept in and just killed it.
I know.
Killed it. We had labels, and we actually were in talks with a couple different labels, and they literally were like, had you come across my desk, 2 years ago, we would be having a different conversation. You know what?
And I really have like a bone to pick with that whole grunge thing because everybody jumped on that. And all of a sudden, if you were just playing any kind of rock and roll, You were always you were a hair band or you were this and
Right,
that.
yeah.
You know, and it's
Yep,
like
pigeonhole.
no man. I mean, come on,
We're
this
still
is
rock and roll.
man. Bands like Tesla, Cinderella.
Oh, yeah.
They all got snowballed into that.
Yeah.
It's like come on, this is
Tesla.
rock and roll. Listen to what they're
One
playing.
of the best rock and roll bands ever, Tesla.
Underrated. I think they're that show they did at Packard Music Hall a couple of years ago. I thought that was great, man.
Oh, they did.
You were a
I
big
saw
Tesla
that.
fan.
Huge Tesla
I
fan.
remember that.
I remember the first time. I think the first time I listened to Tesla all the way through, it literally brought tears to my eyes. I was like, "This is exactly what I wanted." Like
because they
literally, it was
mix up
exactly
the
what I wanted
ballads,
to do.
and
His
then they
voice
could
was
just
amazing.
crank, and it's just a great band. It's just a great band. Now, okay, so now you go to Lazarus. Now, you had your little project there, Love Turns Hate, right?
Right.
Now, we got to talk about the greatest day in Love Turns Hate history. Well, actually, you got two. Okay.
2 days.
Well, we'll start with the Kiss thing. Now, the whole deal with Kiss, you guys won a contest, right? You got to open for Kiss at Blossom. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll get to the big one.
Oh yeah, Guitar Center had that contest, nationwide contest. You had to get the most votes, and I think it was out of the top 5. They picked the winner.
Yeah.
I want to say it was the top 5, maybe the top 3. I think maybe the top 5. So anyway, we drove everybody absolutely insane that summer, pushing it. I mean, I had friends and family going, dude, please stop. If I hear you begging for votes one more day, but it was huge. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah.
So we were, and we were up there. We were within the top 5, like almost the entire time.
Right.
Well, somewhere along the way, I don't even know if you know this because this is crazy. Somewhere along the way, just like anything else, they figured out how to cheat the system. So these bands, you'd go to their page and they'd have on their band page, 123 likes, but yet they were getting these, 500 votes every night.
Right.
So they figured out a way to manipulate it and get all these votes. So all of a sudden, towards the end of this contest, overnight, we started dropping. And I begged more for people to come on, man, you got to get us back in there. So we're dropping and dropping. Well, then finally, I literally had I had said to myself, that's it, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. It's driving me crazy. Because every time I'd go and I'd refresh, we were dropping. We're dropping out of it. And it was these goofball bands that had nothing going on for them.
Right.
Nothing against them, but you just knew if you go to their page, you could see that there's nothing there. They're getting all these votes. So all of a sudden, after I lost hope, I'm like, we're done. We're out of it. And I said I wasn't going to refresh that button for anything again. And I go back up, I think it was on a Monday, and I hit refresh. And all of a sudden, it was like a slot machine. All these numbers rolled and the bands rolled, and all of a sudden, and boom, we're number 2 again. And I'm like, what in the hell happened? Well, here, they must have gone through and cleaned out all the bullshit. And we ended up finishing, if we weren't in second, we were in third place, but we were in the top 5. And then Kiss, ultimately, they claim that the band Kiss themselves picked the winner. And they happened to pick us. We were in the studio at the time with Love Turns Hate, with Brian Patrick, actually, he plays with Northern Whiskey now, guitar player, and Gary's band.
Speaking of which, Gary just checked in. He says, how come your cowbell player isn't here?
Oh, he didn't get the memo.
Yeah, Gary Jones.
Shit.
Gary.
Sorry, Gary.
Oh, that's Gary Jones. Okay,
Yeah, he
wrong
released
Gary.
the hell out of a cowbell.
We'll drink a shot for him.
Okay.
But
okay, so now
so we were
Kiss,
recording and we submitted one of the songs, Rain.
Yeah.
Brian Patrick produced it from Cinematic too. He was also in Cinematic. And that it was just incredible. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. So we won. We got to open for Kiss at the Coliseum. I still, when I tell people that, they can't even believe that. Then you have other assholes, like my young cousins and nieces. They're like, Kiss? Are they still alive?
Yeah, he's Kiss.
I'm like, piss off! Do you know how big that is? I opened for Kiss.
That's huge, man.
Yeah, so it was huge. I mean, to be able to walk into their banquet, and go up there and eat with, of course, none of them were eating with us.
Right.
And they had these massive stuffed pork chops. Dude, they were beautiful. Like you couldn't get a stuffed pork chop like this at the Chop House.
Right.
It was amazing. And I'm like, look at this spread, and here we are, we're eating. And I was roaming. I remember roaming around backstage, and I had a beer. They brought us down this wagon. They literally had Love Turns Hate on our little dressing room. They bring us down this wagon with a cooler full of beer. And I'm like, this is incredible. Grab a beer. I think I'm the cat's meow.
Yeah.
Crack this beer, and I'm walking around backstage. And Rick Schobel was with us because he was a union. He was a union stagehand. I don't know if you remember. And he had worked with those guys, and he had pointed out this guy, Spider, Gene Simmons' bass tech. He's like, dude, stay away from him. He's a fucking asshole. And he's like, just stay away from him. So here I am. Everybody's doing their own thing. And I'm like, here I am. I'm backstage at the Coliseum opening for Kiss. And I'm drinking this beer and I'm just walking around. And I walk back. I happen to make the wrong turn at Albuquerque.
And then here's Spider.
And I walk around and I'm behind Gene's bass rig. And there's Spider standing there. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? I said, I'm just checking shit out. And he's like, basically with a fucking beer? How rude. Get out of here. And I'm like, Jesus, dude. I mean, I'm just walking around with a beer. It was crazy. But yeah, it was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
And then as we're out there watching the Kiss show after we had played, which was mind-blowing, I remember looking at my kids going, shit, I got to go make sure my wireless is packed up. I got to go. So as Kiss is performing on stage, I got my little pass and I run by security because I've been in and out of there so many times now. Yeah. And I'm literally walking back there and I'm like literally standing on the side of the stage and I'm backstage while Kiss is performing. It was crazy. One of the greatest musical days of my life.
But then the absolute greatest, you take it to that level. Let's take, we'll fast forward to Love Turns Hate in downtown Warren.
With Dave Grohl. And I swear I think people think I'm bullshit when we tell these stories.
Still one of the craziest days in Youngstown rock history, bar none. Yeah. The dedication of Dave Grohl Alley in downtown Warren. Dave comes down, cuts the ribbon. Love Turns Hate is set up on stage. Yeah. And we didn't know. First of all, we didn't even know if Dave was going to be there.
That's right.
But then they said, hey, we need another drum set set up
just in case.
Whoa, hold on. Before we do this. Yeah.
Just in case. This is to Sir Dave Grohl. Yeah. Because this is another great story.
This is one of the greatest moments ever in Youngstown rock history.
It is cool.
I mean, this made worldwide news. This made worldwide news.
Hey, we made Rolling Stone.
Yep. Hey, we made
Remember
Rolling
that?
Stone. Yes, we did.
Love Turns Hate. Dave Grohl plays with Love Turns Hate.
So we get the Dave Grohl Alley going, which is a whole story in itself. And I remember Ronnie Riccadonna was working out at the airport. And we didn't know if Dave was coming or not. Nobody knew if Dave was coming, but we still were going to do the ribbon cutting ceremony. We had Love Turns Hate, a couple other bands down there. We had a little party going on in the log cabin and stuff for the bands and that sort of thing. Tons of people come out just to see it. It was a perfect sunshine,
beautiful day,
blue sky day. And then, we're down there and the bands are playing and I get a call from Ronnie and he's out at the airport. He goes, dude, he's here. He just landed. Next thing you know, about 20 minutes later, here comes Dave and his dad and his uncle. No security, nothing.
Walks up like no.
Yep. They just walk in the place. They come in the log cabin and we're sitting there and he's just having beers with everybody and shaking hands and taking pictures and everything. No security, no nothing. O'Grady was kind of keeping an eye on him. But other than that, it was just like, okay, here he is. There's all these people there. Love Turns Hate is playing. And next thing you know, Dave jumps up there, man.
Yeah.
Rock and roll from Zeppelin.
It was crazy. He, we were told at the very last minute that he probably was going to make it, but he was probably going to play with a house band. We had heard he was going to play with a house band.
Yeah.
So then I had walked down to Burger King to just grab something to eat. And I was down there. I get a call from my bass player, Donnie. And he's like, dude, where are you? You got to get over to the cabin. Dave Grohl's here. He wants to talk to you. He wants to talk to us. And I'm like, what? So we go running down there. And I walk in. And he's just standing there with the guys in the band. And I'm like, what's up? I walk in. And I'm like, what's up? And he goes, and we're just kind of shooting the shit. He's like, so what are we going to play? And I'm like, I don't know what to say. He's like, you guys play any covers? And we're like, no, we didn't. Yeah. At that time, we didn't play not a single cover. We were writing and recording, basically. We were completely an original band. I said, no, we don't do any covers. We're all original. And he was like, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm seeing my opportunity slip through my hands. I'm like, how about rock and roll? We could do rock and roll. That's the standard. We could all do. He's like, yeah, man, that's cool. So then I turned to my guys. And I'm like, can you guys do rock and roll? I'm like, can you play rock and roll? But he was like, he agreed to do it. So then I'm thinking, fuck, one song ain't enough. Yeah. One song ain't enough with Dave Grohl.
Right.
And I'm like, well, we do this other song. Shit, what's the name? What's the name of it?
The one you're thinking of, Dave, the one you like, you know?
No, it was an original of ours. And I said, we have this other original. I said, it's just straight four. Get away. Get away. And I said, it's just straight 4/4. It's just a rocker. I'm thinking, no way is he going to agree to play a song he's never heard. Yeah. And he's like, sure, man, sounds cool. Let's do it. So our drummer, Leaf, was over here, and he was set up over here. And he comes out, and he did rock and roll. And then we went into this song, and I'll never forget Leaf saying, he goes, that was the scariest day of my life. He goes, I'm sitting there, I'm playing drums, and Dave Grohl he's literally, he's watching every move because he's mimicking basically his drums until he got through the song, and then he realized, and it was just incredible. But I'm looking back and I'm seeing him playing.
I was sitting right there, right
behind him.
Yeah, right behind him. And then I'm thinking, because like it was probably a few weeks before that, a very short time before that, the Foos played at Wembley, and Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones from Zeppelin joined him on stage, and they did that exact song. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, man,
and now these guys are
up there, and he's just sitting there like from me to you, like just.
And he had played with Paul McCartney too at one of the music things, maybe a month or so before.
That was kind of crazy too, because I remember we're backstage with him, and you know he's such like a down to earth guy, and he's talking, and he was telling some kind of story about Paul. Yeah. You know, and then he goes, and then me and O'Grady were standing there, and he says something like, well, you know how Paul is.
And no, we don't.
Not quite, man. You know?
Well, that was the coolest thing about him, you know. Out of all the people, and we've met a lot of people, we've opened up for a lot of bands, met a lot of rock and roll personalities. Yeah. I mean, a lot. Yeah. And he was the coolest fucking guy by far. I mean, we were standing around passing a bottle of champagne around like this to all our guys. In fact, I was telling you guys at rehearsal the other night, there was the drummer from Dizzy Whore. I can't think right now. But he was a huge.
There's another band.
He was a huge fan of that. One of the other side projects that Dave had done, Kazam or Kazoom or some kind of weird thing. I had never even heard of it. Yeah. And this guy was a huge fan of them, and he even had the T-shirt on. Yeah. So I got him in to meet Dave. He was really wanting to get back there to meet him, and he had this T-shirt on, and Dave, of course, recognized it, and he's like, "Oh man, I love this band." He goes, "You know, I wish you would have done some more with it." And he said, "Dude," he goes, I got so much merchandise from that band at home. He's like, give me your address. So this guy gave Dave Grohl his address. And no shit, couple weeks down the road, maybe a month down the road, he comes home and there's a box sitting there. And he had like 3 of everything. Frisbees, hats, beach towels, koozies, everything. Yeah, I mean. That's how cool he is.
That's the craziest thing about him. And there, another thing I remember about that day, there was some kid that was on like some kind of work release program or something, and
that day
he was doing something. O'Grady busted him for doing something stupid. He was like some skateboard kid or something.
So he was there that day,
and he had to go sweep up the alley or something. Dave wanted to meet that kid. Dave made a special point. Hey, where's that kid that had to sweep up the alley? Joe, go get that guy. I want to meet him. And he comes back there, and here comes this kid who is some kind of juvenile delinquent, and he was just like, dude.
He can relate. He can relate to him.
But it was just so cool that this guy would, that was like, I would say one of the coolest days of my life, without a doubt.
For sure, me. The worst part about that day? We had a play. We were playing. The Huckin Fillbillys were actually playing in Geneva that night, and I'll never forget, like after Dave did the acoustic thing and he dedicated My Hero, or Hero to his father, which brought tears to my eyes. I mean, I'm sitting there on the side of the stage with his father and stepmom and family, and he plays My Hero, and he walked off stage, and I think he obviously saw that we were emotional about it. Yeah. And he comes over and he gives me this this seriously heartfelt hug, So then he's like, hey, well, we're going to dinner at Alberini's. Come join us. Yeah. So he literally invited me to dinner, and I couldn't go, and it makes me sick.
Another thing too, when you mentioned like his dad, that whole Dave Grohl alley meant a lot to his family. Oh yeah, it really did. Like his dad. I mean, here's a guy that's in Nirvana. Here's the guy. This is Dave Grohl. This is the Foo Fighters. But they got that Dave Grohl alley, and that to them was a big deal.
Oh yeah,
it was really
it'll
a big
live
deal.
in forever.
Those
cool
were
times. Yeah, we had some really good times together.
No kidding. You know, one of my favorite stories is though when that asshole from.
Does it get better than that?
No, but this is a funny story because now we'll go to the other end of the spectrum. When the asshole from Bret Michaels pulled the plug on you guys at the Super Nats.
Yeah.
Really?
Were you there for that?
Oh yeah, I remember. I was right there.
Up, dude. I got a little crazy that day.
Oh yeah.
He made up for it though. I
Yeah.
will say that he made up for it. That dude, he shut
what was it? It was Smokey or something. What was his road manager?
I can't even remember.
It was like one name.
But I remember him running behind us, going kill it.
Yeah.
And they literally shut us down through the end of our song.
And the place was rocking, though. This is the whole thing. These guys were rocking the house. There was probably as many people there to see you guys as to see Bret Michaels.
And I want to say there was 12, 13,000 people there. It was huge. Huge.
Yeah.
Huge numbers.
And these guys
we had them going.
They're tearing it up, man.
And the worst part was they had showed up ridiculously late, so we got a late start.
That's right.
And our time got cut.
Yeah.
So the stage manager said, you guys can play till like 9:20.
Yeah.
Or 9:40, something like that. So literally, I go over to Ken. I'm like, dude, go right into the last song. So we went from our second to the last song right into Tie. We always close with Tie Your Mother Down.
Yeah.
So we rolled into that. We still had like 5 minutes. So we still were under our time. That's what really pissed me off. So then when they shut us down, they literally halfway through the first verse, they shut us down.
Yep.
And the crowd starts booing and chanting. And we're fired up, and I'm like, I can't even say anything because my microphone's turned off, and I'm just like, hey, sorry, thank you, goodbye, and I'm like, I go because I've had like 3 Red Bulls and God knows tequila, and I'm fired up beyond all. I just couldn't even, inconsolable.
And I get cornered by the guitar player and bass player and say, yeah, Bret Michael wants to talk to you. Yeah. Where's that singer at? Oh my God.
So I had gone off to change into a dry shirt, and I'm drinking, and I come walking back, and as I come back to the backstage, there's like 8 guys standing there waiting for him. I'm like, this is my TMZ moment. Yeah. Jimmy's going down. He's going down with a fight, right? So I walk over here, come to find out, it was like 3/4 of his band. Yeah. It was like the Bret Michaels band, and they're like, hey man, Bret wants to talk to you. And I'm thinking, well, because I had said some pretty... Yeah. I basically said Bret Michaels, you know the story. You know what Bret Michaels could do to this guy. I was like, fuck you, fuck him, and fuck you all, and this, that, and the other. Well, he goes, well, he wants to talk to you. I'm like, oh boy. So we walked over to the bus, and we walked in, and he's standing there with you and Dustin.
Me and Dustin.
Yeah, you and Dustin are standing there.
Already.
And I come walking up. He's like, hey man, he goes, I heard these guys shut you down, and you guys were pretty pissed. And he goes, and I can understand why. He goes, but I want you to know, and I'm telling you to your face. He goes, I would never do that. I didn't do that. I would never do that to you. And he goes, and I feel really bad about it. He goes, I want to make it up to you somehow. And he goes, and at this point now I'm like all humble and shit. I'm like, I take it. I said, well, I did say you could, but I take it back. I said, because you're cool as shit. But he offered. He actually said, why don't you guys come up and do rock and roll all night or something?
Yeah.
He goes, we're gonna close with rock and roll all night. He goes, why don't you join us on stage? And I'm like, you fucking serious?
Yeah. No, I want to beat your ass though.
Yeah. So now I'm fist bumping, hugging him,
do I want to beat your ass or I want to play with you?
I'm like, dude, I'm like, you know what? I'll tell you what, dude. I said that was a terrible. What we just experienced was the worst thing I've ever experienced. I said, but now you just made up for it. That's that's the best.
But you know what? His road manager did the same thing to some of them guys when they played at Connie on it like a year or 2 later.
Did the same thing.
He did the exact same thing.
So it was those guys.
And a lot of people were pissed because I don't know if it was Wet Lemon or somebody was playing there.
Yeah, they did the same thing. They showed up like 2 hours late.
Yeah, and then they're sitting there, they're playing music, and Bret was doing meet and greets, the $250 VIP meet and greets. And this band, that had a lot of people. A lot of people don't realize that even at a concert like that, if it's Bret Michaels, if you got a good local band with a
showing up
good
to see
following, and plus all your fans, your friends, your relatives, everybody comes out, and that's what that was like. And they pulled them guys off the stage early, and then they were playing a tape, and Bret's out on the bus making a $250 things. And it's like, you know what? That's not cool.
It was jive.
But Keith says he's lucky to get out of here. They were lucky to get out of there alive. And Jackal's asshole stage guy.
he still won't let that go.
Yeah,
you know the best thing about that though, Freddie? That was one of the, you know me, I'm pretty mild, calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, right.
That was one of the first times I ever really lost my shit. I mean, I lost it.
Right.
And it was the funniest thing because after that, he invites us on the stage.
Yeah.
We do his last song with him.
Yeah.
Then a week later, I'm still thinking, damn, I wonder what Corey's going to say about this. I basically told his
the
headlining
promoter.
band to go fuck off, you know?
Yeah.
And Corey calls me about 5 days later,
Here we
three
go.
or 4 days
Never
later,
played a rock and
I didn't even want to pick up.
yeah.
I didn't even want to pick it up.
We'll
I'm like,
played the Super Nats
I'm like,
again.
oh man, we're toast. And I didn't pick it up. I listened to his message. I'm like, he sounded like he was in a pretty decent mood. I said, let me call him back.
Yeah.
He goes, you know what? He goes, hey man, what's going on? I said, not too much. What's up? He goes, I got some good news for you. I said, what's that? He goes, I just got a call from Brett Michaels' tour manager. He goes, he wants to come play the Hot Rod Super Nats again next year. And he goes, and guess what? They personally requested that the Huckin Fillbillys open up for him.
How cool is that?
I should have told people to fuck off a long time ago.
Oh, hey, Donna from Conneaut Lake is. I got to do a shot here for Donna. Here we go. All right, here we go. Hey, Donna.
Oh, man. There it is.
You know, Donna was like, Donna was the main bartender out of Conneaut Lake Park. And we had our friend Brenda from out of Conneaut Lake checking in.
Full strength.
Okay.
Go with me. Full strength. I'll take the regular. No unleaded.
Premium.
Jesse Wagner says hi to everybody. Ken, Merle.
Jesse was there for Brett. I remember him being there.
Everybody was there for Brett. What are you mixing? Are you mixing a fire and a...
Yeah. We almost killed it.
Yeah. And the other one, too.
That's gone. Put that on the bookshelf.
Hey, here you go, Donna. This is especially for you and Greg and Steve and everybody out of Conneaut Lake Park. The great times we've had out there.
Good times at Conneaut.
That's good.
Nothing to warm me up on a northeastern Ohio winter night like that.
So what are we looking at for Huckin Fillbillys, man? What do we got coming up?
We just can't wait to get back out there and start playing like regular. And I'll tell you what, we're booking like crazy.
I know.
Like summer's booked.
Everybody is ready for summer.
We're booking.
I'll tell you what. I think with this COVID, I'm hoping. I think that coming up. I think midsummer we're going to be back to normal, and I think it's going to be balls out because everybody has been cooped up man. In there so long.
Yeah. We're ready to blow. We're ready to blow.
Now here's
what?
You know, yeah. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? Boy, a couple shots of Jack Daniels and these guys get a little
Jack Daniels. There you go. Roll crowd.
You know,
I said we're ready for some blow. What the hell?
Hey, we're going out of the gutter 3 in the morning, man. This is like Conneaut Lake Park at 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh man. Now, you know what? I got to ask you a question here, though. Should I get my hair cut or not? You know what? I come in here and I'm thinking, maybe I got to trim the beard. And I see these two guys, and it's like, you don't trim the beard.
No, I don't know. You know? Let me see. Let me see that.
Okay, here. Let me just take my ponytail out. And you see, now being a hairdresser.
Oh, check it out, man. I haven't seen it without a ponytail.
What more conditioner?
More conditioner?
No, he had a hat on.
He had a hat on.
You know, like soft and smooth.
Okay.
Oh,
no, I mean, do we cut a little bit or we just leave it?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, you know,
it's hard. It's hard to change something. Perfection.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. That's all I need to hear. All right.
Hey, but on that note, give me a call, Studio 11 in Howland.
Hey, let me tell you something. You know, we're sitting here telling all these rock and roll stories and stuff, but Jimmy, your clientele and everything, you're badass when it comes to the hairstyle.
Styling.
Yeah,
day job.
Give a plug for that, man.
I just did. Thank you.
Another one, so in case you didn't hear it.
Yeah, I don't know. Most people probably don't even realize. I mean, I know when a lot of people hear that I'm actually a licensed hairstylist.
Yeah.
They're kind of freaked out by that, but I truly am. I have a day job.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what. And
if you're in need of a good stylist, man, give me a call. 330-856-1511.
Yeah, there
Howland.
you go.
To all the girls from Studio 11 out there.
Oh yeah, no,
it's a dirty job, Freddie, but somebody's got to do it.
I know, man.
I've got like 10 sisters, wives, mothers, all in one.
I've
got it's covered. covered.
Okay, everybody's saying don't cut. Don't
cut.
change. Okay.
No.
that solves that.
It's you. You are who you are.
You know, that's what I mean. I think I would feel like Samson. You know, I mean, look at having Samson and Delilah. He cut his hair.
That was no good.
Yeah.
I've said, now that I've gone to this length,
Yeah.
my next step is when it starts to get a little too shiny back here, it's all coming off. Then I'll do that.
There you go.
I'm allowed to do it.
Holy shit.
Then I'll do that.
Oh, boy, that was a touchy subject. There in more ways than one.
I'm allowed to do it. You're not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jesse Wagner says Jimmy's the best.
True.
Oh, Gary Jones wants to know if you do Brazilians.
Oh my
He's done a Brazilian of it.
I do Brazilian blowouts, but I'm not doing no Brazilian on him.
Oh, well,
I know he'd like that.
Oh, that was going to be my second question. Now I'm a little bummed out here.
Yeah, I do wax.
Okay, yeah.
From here up.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because basically our wax chair is in the midst of our eating table, so I don't think you want any asses bent over a chair next to the table that you eat your lunch at. Maybe.
Oh man. Well, listen, guys, it's almost time to wrap this up. We could win another 2 hours easily.
We got plenty more stories.
Will you guys come back? Will we do this again?
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys coming down.
Let's come back post-COVID so that we can come back and say.
Yeah, once we start doing, once we
I'll
start.
tell you what, though, I make a prediction. I think early summer. I think the numbers are plummeting.
Yes.
The numbers are going down.
Yeah.
And people have had it. People have had it.
I know.
And I think that once these numbers get low enough, no matter what the mandates are, I think people are just have had enough. And
it's like, you know what, let the people decide. If you want to come out, come on out,
Hey, being in the Huckin Fillbillys is a risk. Being Fast Freddie is a risk.
Yeah, there's always an element.
There's a risk involved in everything we do.
This is only an hour and a half show, folks.
And this is a risk.
Half.
Everything we do is a risk.
Exactly.
So now,
exactly. It's rock and roll, and that's what we do. And
let's do it.
You never know. Now,
be safe and stay healthy.
Now, another one coming up, though. We're going to do another podcast here very shortly. And it's going to feature Butch Likens right here. And we're going to bring Gary Perung in. And we're going to do the rock and roll fisherman.
Nice.
Because...
so they're going to tell us what baits to use and where to go? Because he's a master baiter.
That's why he's on. That's why he's on.
He likes to handle the stick, you know what I'm saying?
We're going to talk about your rods. We're going to talk about how to properly hold your rods
and sticks.
Master baiter. We're going to talk about how to wiggle your worm. We're going to
Saturday night at El Cowboy for Eddie's birthday. Come out. Eddie Himes.
Hey, Saturday night.
My good buddy Eddie. Happy birthday.
We got to get everybody out to El Cowboys. And like I say, man, my man Israel, he's just
I hope he's coming out for his birthday.
Israel's a good guy.
But you know what? Now, like Butch, he's one of my favorites because he loves smallmouth fishing. Mm-hmm. And that's one of my favorites, man.
Lake Erie footballs.
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what. I killed him this summer. And we're going to get out and maybe film some stuff.
Yeah, I'm coming. Quite the
I'm coming.
Bass aficionado.
I'm coming.
You know what? Let's even try to maybe get a smallmouth charter where we could get 6 people on a boat.
Wouldn't that be cool?
And we'll all come out and we'll do that and we'll tape it and we'll film it.
Let's do that. We can go live.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we all wear Speedos.
I have not yet caught a smallmouth while I was fucked up yet.
What'd you say? Did you say you've never caught a smallmouth fucked up yet?
Butch.
First time for everything.
Now Butch likes to do that kayak fishing out on
this last year.
Alleghenies.
Yep. I used to have a buddy that owned a jet boat out there, and he kind of taught me the river for a while. I went out with that guy. So when I went and got the kayak, which was my son's idea, but I'm glad I did it. It's pretty neat. Got some exercise and it's pretty neat.
Yeah,
it's got me considering getting a kayak.
I told my son, I go, I'm going out with Butch on a kayak. You'll get too tangled up. You don't want to get in it. My son, I got him started in fishing. Yeah. Now he has surpassed me by so far. It's not even funny.
Yeah, he's a good fisherman.
And it's like, he's like, oh yeah, no, you ain't going out there. You'll just be embarrassed. You'll tangle shit up and stuff. I'm going out with Butch, man. I said Butch was fishing longer than you. And but the show I want to do is you and Gary Perung.
Yeah.
And we'll you know, because Gary loves fishing Mosquito Lake, good crappie
I
fisherman.
never knew that
and
about
stuff.
Gary.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that. And
He's also a masturbator.
yeah.
So is it going to be called the Masters?
Yeah,
Masturbators.
masturbator. The masturbators.
Masturbators.
Yeah.
I think I'll tune in for that one.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
I'm going to need a bigger bottle.
Yeah, bring the lube, man. Bring some lube, bring some tissues.
Definitely going to need a bigger bottle.
That is going to be a blast. Hey, listen, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming down here. You don't know, I mean, I'm really glad that we could come down here, and you know, I'm just trying to get the bands out and stuff because where else, you know, you have no newspaper
man,
and
we
stuff
appreciate
anymore.
it.
I
Yes,
just
Freddie,
wanna-
we thank you for.
I just
We
wanna-
appreciate the
for
outlet.
helping
I
us
just want
all
to
these
keep
years.
on
Absolutely.
doing
Are you
it,
kidding
man.
me?
You know, but
You're the best
there we
support
go.
system anybody
Merle.
could have.
Yeah.
Much love, but
Honestly, much love
you
to
know,
this guy for
hey.
keeping Youngstown rock and roll alive.
Listen, we got it.
in the public view.
We got to do this again in maybe like about a month. Once you know, once you're, you know, spring and late spring, summer, things come because man, we didn't even talk about motorcycle riding. We may just have to do it.
We got Cooter looking for a scooter this year.
Cooter with the scooter.
Cooter on a scooter.
Hey, you know, and I got to get out with you and Keith, and you know, because I've always had something going when you guys were going, or we cross paths.
For sure.
Get down to Hog Heaven in some of those
And
places.
Keithy B will really be looking to get on the bike after his
with his battle
gig
with
with
COVID and stuff. So, well, listen, guys, I know, man, we've been friends and stuff for such a long time, and it's just great to have you here. And the whole thing with this podcast, I'm just trying to get Youngstown rock and roll out there, and as things, you know, just get harder to get some publicity. I'm just glad you guys can make it down and. So next show for all you masturbators out there, we're gonna give you some tips on how to handle that rod.
Mom, turn it off! Turn it off!
All right, hey, how about a nice hand for the Huckin Fillbillys for stopping by today?
And fast, Freddie.
Hey, and in true fashion.
What the hell? What did you do? Jack Davis. That's for our producer over there. Okay, last one.
We might as well do
Let's
one
do
more.
this for curtain call.
If we leave that bottle here with something left in it, then shame on us, man.
Bad luck for us.
Whoa.
But anyways, Keith has been rocking with us here tonight. Oh,
give Freddie some.
Wait. Hold on a second.
Yeah, look at these two big.
Merle's trying to Bogart down there.
Oh yeah, look at Merle. Hey, he had to pry the bottle off. You know why that thing was so empty? Merle's been snipping on it the whole time.
You gotta watch them bass players.
Fumes, baby.
All right.
Listen, to Youngstown Rock and Roll, Huckin Fillbillys, Saturday night, El Cowboy.
Saturday night, El Cowboy. Come on out.
Man. Thank you guys for coming out. What a great time.
Butch's second gig.
There we go, man.
Wait, what is it? Rufus Conine. Rufus Conine on the drums for the Fillbillys.
And what was your earthquaker name?
Micah Shetler.
He's going from Micah to Rufus.
I don't know who the fuck I am.
Me either at this point. Well, listen,
apparently you're a masturbator. That's
for tuning in tonight. This is our first ever late night little party. And I'm just glad you guys could stop by. Make sure you stop by and see these guys Saturday night, El Cowboy in Austintown. Follow them on Facebook and all over the place. Check out their website. And Salute. All right, Jimmy. I guess I don't get a haircut.
We got to draw straws and see who's driving home tonight.
This show was pre-taped 3 days ago.
I'm already home in bed.
Yeah, exactly. We're done watching at home. Hey, listen, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
El Cowboy coming up on Saturday, end of March. We're going to be at the Ice House.
Yep.
And
Israel's doing a big St. Patty's Day.
Oh,
I
want to give
We're doing St. Patty's Day at El Cowboy.
Like I say, man.
Either El Cowboy or Los Gallos. I'm not even sure.
Or probably both.
I don't even know where I'm playing. We're playing though.
But we'll find out though soon enough. Man, I'll tell you what. I hope you guys had a blast here today.
We did.
You know, we got to get you guys back. We didn't even talk about your tattoos yet. We didn't talk about ink. Maybe we'll just do a show about ink.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We gotta get Rufus inked up.
Rufus,
thinking about getting a neck piece.
Yeah, there you go.
Master
big old bass. Big old bass on the
Yeah. We got to get something there.
Maybe we can do a smallmouth in the mouth.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've never been accused of.
We're gonna get him like Tech 9. We're just gonna do this whole thing.
do me up,
We have a large mouth on this side and a smallmouth on this side.
Coffee right on his forehead. A kayak right on his forehead.
All the chicks.
Oh man, too bad we have to get rolling because it's just starting to get going good. This is just kicking in.
Lord.
Listen, guys, this has been a blast. I'm glad you could make it out here, and we will do another show here coming up to kick off summer.
For sure.
And we're going to do our fishing show. You got any other rock guys that fish?
Yeah, you know, there's a matter of fact, we were just talking, doing this, and a guy named Rob Kolick from the Moose and Diddy show texted me and said, I've been watching kayak fishing videos, Butch.
Yeah,
He's ready to go.
Thank you for that.
I'm getting a kayak.
Yeah, but no, it's amazing how many guys are out there.
Yeah, did you tell him, no, listen, if you're going to get snagged up and stuff, you ain't coming.
Yeah,
like
you ain't coming with your
My
big
son
old
doesn't even want me
snag.
on his boat. If I get one snag or two snags, he wants to throw me off the boat. I'm done. It's like, you know, come on, man.
Oh, sons of bitches.
Yeah.
You brought life. You brought him into this world.
He wouldn't even know how to tie a hook on a line if it wasn't for me. Now all of a sudden he's like out there. But
Slowing him down.
you know what we got to do though? We really do got to do that that charter, and I'll
be
hook
great.
one up
Count me
coming
in.
up, and you know whether you know, and just go out there and just us.
That'd be great.
You know,
Yeah,
sipping
that'd be
a
a
little
good
bit
time.
and shooting the shit and
Getting a suntan.
and getting a suntan.
No masks.
Yeah, that's it, man.
No mask.
All right, well, listen, guys, let's wrap this up.
Thank you,
Once
Freddie.
again, thank you guys for coming out. El Cowboys tomorrow or Saturday.
Saturday.
El Cowboys Saturday.
Well, technically it is tomorrow because this is pre-recorded.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Actually, this was pre-recorded 3 weeks ago, so I don't even know. Yeah.
So next Saturday.
Saturday night, El Cowboys. Check out the Huckin Fillbillys, Ice House End of March, and follow them on Facebook and all that stuff because you know what? This summer, I think is going to be the bust out summer. We were laying low last year, and we're going to come out.
Yep.
And you know what?
Plan.
We should do another one too. We'll do a motorcycle video.
Okay.
We'll get Keith and everybody, and we'll go on one of our rides somewhere over to Foxburg or
cool.
down to Hog Heaven or something, and just
Do it. Let's do
you
it.
know, and it just you know. So
on
Ken,
our
you
road.
got a couple months here to get a scooter.
Yep.
He's
Scooter,
looking.
gotta get a scooter.
He's looking.
He's looking. All right,
I'm
man.
looking.
We
I think
got to
I
be
got
out
one.
there.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, it's unanimous. Don't fuck with the beard.
No.
Just leave it as it
Don't
is.
fuck with it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, guys. Let's wrap it up. And
All right.
thank you, man. What a great time. And thanks
Youngstown
everybody for tuning
Studios
in.
rocks.
Hell
Yes.
yeah, man. What an awesome time. All right,
you, brother.
wrap it up, Nick, and we'll call it a day.
Thank you, Freddie.